Ladies and gentlemen, we are live today for another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. Our Do It for Dale series continues as we are trying to get Dale Earnhardt Jr. his first Nextel Cup Series championship in the 2005 season. This is going to be an interesting one today at the Phoenix International Raceway for the second straight day. So we're just coming off the heels of the Busch Series race here last night where Dale Jr. had a great car, ended up finishing in 7th. We'll see if he can do better in the Cup race, though, here today. Under the lights for the first time ever in the NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix as of this 2005 season. We'll see who's going to win it here over the next 312 miles. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, live race commentary for real races on the race weekend, as you'll be seeing with the NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday at Sonoma. I'll be doing live commentary then, and the video game races during the week, all in the hopes of hopefully getting myself into the commentating booth for real races down the road. No qualifying or practice will be scheduled for tonight's race, mainly due to the fact that I did not get home until just a little bit ago. I was at my grandparents' house this afternoon, spent some time there. It was a little bit late getting back. I don't know, most of you guys probably know, for anybody who spends time with your grandparents, I would assume it's probably hard to leave at times. Usually you tend to get out of there earlier than what you end up actually leaving. That was kind of my case today. I left about 15 minutes later than what I wanted to, hence why I got here about 15 minutes late. I was hoping 6:15 would be like a good start time. Ended up a couple minutes beyond that, but I am back and better than ever. Going to try to set this car up. I'm going to use the same exact setup that I had for last night's race at Phoenix for the Busch Series, and hopefully that is going to be the correct car to have for this race today as well. So going to kickstart things from starting at the rear without any practice or qualifying, exactly what Dale Jr. did last night. There was an early caution in the Busch Series race, so we'll see if that will end up playing in effect in this one. Elliott Sadler will be on the pole. The green flag is in the air, and we are underway at Phoenix under the lights. 312 laps, 312 miles will be the scheduled distance. 2x2 is the field right now. So make their way through the backstretch and into turn 3. Dale Jr. going a bit wide that time, overrunning the corner. Of course, a little bit more horsepower in the Cup cars than the Busch Series cars. So going to have to adapt to that pretty soon. Jr. making a pass on the opening lap, though, on Jason Leffler. Got it in the back of Mike Bliss. Leffler's going to get back to the outside of Dale Jr. now off the exit of turn number 2. Sadler leads the opening lap from the pole. We saw last night how hard it was to pass the leader on a non-restart. That is likely going to be the case again today. In traffic right now is going to be the best time to try and make some passes. No, the race is 500 kilometers. 500-kilometer race, 312 miles. For some reason, Phoenix always had like 500 next to the title sponsor of the race. It's the second time Junior's gotten into the back of Mike Bliss. And there's another stack up off the exit of turn 4. One car way down low. Junior just got to the inside and just out of harm's way. It's going to move him up to 35th. All 3 DEI cars in the back of the field for the start of this race today. Jr. going to work to the inside of his teammate Martin Truex Jr. right now. Make the pass on him, as well as the 137 car. A couple of Roush Fenway Fords towards the back of Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth. Edwards has a couple wins in the Cup Series already. In fact, he won the last race at Texas last week. See if he can win this one today. Junior looking to the inside of the 17 of Kenseth. Not going to work. Kenseth's going to drive it in deep to try and stay behind his teammate Edwards into the inside of the 41 of Casey Mears. Billy Carjoy, Billy Kramer, Asai Z, Derek Booth, Patrick Chatelet, Mark DeMars, and others. Welcome to the stream. Sorry if I did not shout you out. First of those that are in the chat. Junior up to 32nd, though, after 6 laps. That stack up a couple laps in, helped him gain quite a few positions early as he was just able to miss running over Bliss off of turn 4 and get to the inside. Junior overdrives the corner entry into turn 3. Got a great corner, though, off the exit. Gets to the inside of Kenseth. Kind of worked his diamond in the corner off to drive to the inside of the 17, but now he's going to be really flat into turns 1 and 2. Kenseth did not give Dale Jr. any room there, and Mears just about wipes out Dale Jr. from behind, and Mears is in the wall off of turn 2. Jr. having a handful early. See all the smoke from the aftermath of that last lap. Definitely feel the handling's a bit different in the Cup cars. Same setup as the Busch Series car from yesterday. I think the 8 does have speed. He just needs to get the track position because it's so hard to pass here. Especially if you're not given a lot of room like Kenseth did not give Dale Jr. a lot of room that last lap. So the first caution of 5 in the Busch Series race yesterday at about lap 16. We're getting close to that right now. Dale Jr.'s a little loose on corner entry, I've noticed. Wondering if they'll be making any adjustment changes once that first pit stop comes about. Gotta assume the car's gonna tighten up on the longer run as well. So you don't want to be over dramatic with the setup changes early for that reason. Under the lights, you're going to have a little bit more grip with cooler track temps compared to daytime conditions as well. Kenny Walsh trying to throw a block on Dale Jr. Jr. wanted no part of it. And he'll drive right by Wallace to the inside of Scott Riggs. And going to look to get to the inside of Boris Said into turn 3 for position. He'll get around the 36. So the 8 car step out a little bit in turns 1 and 2. Said going to get back to the inside of Dale Jr. Jr. going to get a good drive on the backstretch, though, and he'll be able to stay in front of the 36. Carl Edwards has really moved through the field. He's already up to 24th. Trying to keep up with you guys in the chat. I'm having a hard time just trying to deal with traffic right now and not having any practice in the Cup car at this track before I started this race. So sorry if I'm not reading off your guys' comments too much in the early going. I'll get the hang of it eventually. It's a little harder on the short tracks and road courses, as you guys know. Junior on the inside of Ricky Rudd into turns 1 and 2. Going to complete the pass. Carl Edwards on the inside of rookie Travis Quaffle in the 77. Junior may just follow Edwards through the field as quickly as the 99 is picking up and putting down cars. Junior wiggled quite a bit. Again on corner entries. Really loose on entry to the corners. Stays off of the 77 of Quaffle, luckily, though, and he's going to look to get around him. The Quaffle's teammate, Rusty Wallace, right in front of him. Junior to the inside of the 2. That blue deuce. Shane Meal won the Busch race from the pole last night. Cup race he's running up right around 20th in the early going. Junior underneath Edwards in the 99, runs him a bit wide. Dale Jr. did not waste any time getting around cousin Carl for 19th. I gotta say, the 8's picking him up and putting him down. Edwards challenging to the outside that time through turns 3 and 4. Didn't get back in the gas too soon. Now on the inside of the 42, almost at least, of Jamie McMurray. Ryan Newman, one of the rivals of Dale Jr., just a few extra positions ahead of where Junior's running right now. Dale to the inside of McMurray through 1 and 2. McMurray going to hold Dale Jr. pretty tight on the backstretch and into turn 3. Way down low on corner entry, really chopped it off, but clears McMurray with a clean pass in 3 and 4. Edwards looking to follow Dale Jr. Jr. pulls out of line early now, trying to get around the Evernham Dodge of Jeremy Mayfield. On the inside of Mayfield, he'll make the quick pass on him now. To 17th. Harvick, Andretti, Marlin. It's like Jeff Green and Ryan Newman are the next cars in front of Dale Jr. Jr. gets around Kevin Harvick with a little bump and run. Turns 1 and 2. Now on the inside of the 14 car. John Andretti, who really pinched Dale Jr. off. Jr. did a great job keeping it off the 14. He got around him cleanly, and now quickly to the inside of the 40 of Sterling Marlin. I have to say, this 8 car is looking sporty early on. Already up to 14th after starting last with no practice and qualifying. Sadler's led the opening 22 laps from the pole. Hope you get tonight's trivia question correct. We'll see. Next car to pass is going to be really tough, though, for Dale Jr. with Ryan Newman being a rival. Newman's been held up behind the 43 of Green for a little bit. Loose is fast if he can hang on to it, and so far Dale Jr.'s been able to do just that. Seen a couple of miniature moments where the car gets a bit sideways. For the most part, he's able to hold on. Some point you'd have to imagine he's going to stagnate, as he's probably used quite a bit of his tires up early on. Junior had all 4 tires down on the apron through 3 and 4 that time, really dove it off, lifted a bit off the exit of turn 4 just to make sure he was going to keep it off the wall. On the track map on the upper right-hand corner of the screen, it seems as if Sadler's pulling away just a bit. Junior drives it in deep into 3 and 4. He's underneath the 12 of Newman, but he couldn't hold it because Newman would have made it 3 wide because he was already on the inside of Mark Martin. Into turns 1 and 2, a little touch on the 12. Junior hugging the curbing on the backstretch. Stays underneath the 6. Deep dive into 3 and 4 again to the inside of Ryan Newman, who has been tough to pass, and cautions out for the first time today. So the yellow flag is out. Newman was ahead of Dale Jr. at the timing of the yellow, so Jr. was scored in 12th, and that happened right behind Dale Jr. Kevin Harvick into the wall in turns 1 and 2, it looks like. Backed it into the outside wall, slapped the right front, then came back across the 77's front bumper of Travis Quaffle. He was collected as well. So first caution of the race will take place at about lap 27, and we'll see if the field is going to pit here. And it looks like everybody's going to stay out. So Junior's waiting to see what the leaders were going to do, and he was going to do accordingly, means he has already worked his way up to 12th. So he stays out just like the rest of the field. Nobody will hit pit road during our first caution of the race. Green flag back in the air at lap 31. Good jump on the restart for Junior. He's going to look to the inside of Ryan Newman into turn 1. Aggressive move, but Newman with the block. Single file restart. Sadler, who was pulling away in the early going, his lead is dissipated, and he'll have to hang on for the restart. We saw most of the 5 lead changes last night. Junior on the inside of Newman through 3 and 4. Gonna squeeze him, but he's not gonna hit him. He's gonna race him clean, and he'll pass him clean. Now Junior to the inside of Jeff Green in the 43 car into 1 and 2. Makes a clean pass on him as well for 11th. Junior still picking him up and putting him down. Pretty good restart for the 8. Bit of side-by-side racing inside the top 10. Ahead of him, contact between Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson into turns 3 and 4. Busch using the chrome horn. Little bump and run. Biffle almost got in the wall with Tony Stewart looking underneath him. Inside the top 5. Earnhardt, great corner through 1 and 2. Closes on Robbie Gordon. Jeff Burton in the 31. Gordon was in that car in NASCAR 05. Junior's going to be flat into the corner. Gets into the back of the 31. Little bump and run. Aggressive move. 3 wide off turn 4. Jimmy Johnson may have gotten into the outside wall. Aggressive move by Junior, but it looks like it's going to pay off. And now he's quickly underneath Kurt Busch. And may get to the inside of Dale Jarrett. This 8 car is a rocket ship tonight. And is already battling for 7th. Just 34 laps in. Just methodically gotten his way through the field. And may get to the inside of Tony Stewart into turns 1 and 2. He's looking low already. Stewart not going to give Dale Jr. a lot of room, but Jr.'s going to work his way underneath and contact. That was more on Stewart than Earnhardt. Earnhardt didn't get a lot of room there. Dale Jr. going to make the pass. Up to 6th place. Jeff Gordon challenging Elliott Sadler for the lead, but it's so hard to pass the car in clean air. No lead changes so far in the race. Sadler's led them all, but Gordon gets to the inside. It's a few laps after the restart, but it's going to work. New leader, Jeff Gordon out in front. He'll score 5 bonus points leading his first lap of the day, and Sadler has to go down to block Biffle, who's in 3rd right behind him. Little contact between Biffle and Sadler. Sadler's shuffled out of line now. Off the bottom, and he's going to continue to go backwards unless he can get to the inside in front of the 25 of Vickers. Biffle clears Sadler. Junior the great exit to turn 4. He looks to the inside of Bobby Labonte on the front straightaway. How much room is Labonte going to give Earnhardt? Dale Jr. to the inside. Goes up the track just a bit, trying to side draft the 18. He'll race him straight up, though. Junior's going to have the advantage on the inside into turn 3, and he'll take over the 5th place spot. Junior's been competitive on the short tracks in the Busch Series. Hit or miss on the Cup side. Last short track at Bristol, he did get a top 10 finish. Ended up finishing in 7th place. The Food City 500. Now is anybody going to be able to get around Jeff Gordon? Biffle putting the bumper to Gordon off the exit of turn 2. Dale trying to get to the inside of Vickers. Not going to do it that time. Going to start the corner wider. Really try to arc it off in the center. Trying to get the dive underneath Vickers off the exit of turn 4. Really low exit. Junior is underneath the 25. So there was the setup move. Now he'll go for the pass in turns 1 and 2. And he's got it. Up to 4th. Sadler trying to get around Biffle. Gordon's definitely going to be the hardest one to pass. Now that we're long enough into this green flag run. Pretty old on tires. Again, nobody pitted during that caution at lap 27. I had no clue Strasburg was playing with the Marlins. Lost touch on baseball for the most part outside of Detroit. This season, at least. I thought Sadler was going to get to the inside of Biffle. He got a really good drive off the exit of turn 2 and down the backstretch to stay in front of the 38. Dale Jr. looking for a way around the 38 of Elliott Sadler. Sadler underneath Biffle. Junior may try to take him 3 wide. I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe not on this track. Junior slides into the corner. Carried a bit too much speed. Couldn't hold it. Sadler makes a clean pass on Biffle for second. Junior going to lose a little bit of ground. That was similar to something you would see out of the next-gen cars. Carried a bit too much speed in, lost the front, well, the rear and then the front as he overcorrected, and to drop back in line behind him. Craig Franklin, welcome into the stream. Just the one lead change so far. Gordon getting around Sadler a few laps after the last restart. And the only restart of the race was one early yellow. Harvick backing it with a spin into the outside wall. Then 77 of Travis Quaffle was also collected. 2-car accident, turns 1 and 2. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. We're about halfway on fuel at lap 47 for Dale Jr. Next race on the schedule will be tomorrow night at Talladega, where the errand's $4.99. Going to DEI's playground next. Like 94 laps on fuel. Yeah, right around there. Caution saved a few laps, so maybe this run we can get that far, but probably plan on a little less than that for the rest of the race as far as the fuel window goes. 50 laps in. Kind of similar to what you're seeing in the top 4 in tonight's race is what we saw in last night's race. Not a lot of passing going on with how difficult, treacherous this racetrack was. Sadler opened up the door for himself to get around Biffle for second. On non-restarts, it's just so difficult. Especially as you get longer into the green flag run and the tires are older. Not as much traction control with these race cars. And I'd say even less control with the Cup cars versus the Busch cars last night. With a little bit extra horsepower. Junior's definitely keeping a lot of pressure on the 16 of Biffle in front of him. And he's put pressure on Sadler, who's putting pressure on Gordon. Junior running really wide intentionally that time off turn 2, just trying a different line. Gordon almost got up into the wall. Really fanning out before chopping down to the bottom into 3 and 4. Biffle back to the inside of Sadler through 3 and 4. Will he stay there is going to be the next question. Into turns 1 and 2. Biffle on the inside. Dale Jr., he's going to try to stay low to get underneath the 38 as well. Off the exit of turn 2, Biffle's clear. Jr. trying to get around Sadler for third. Side by side there into turn 3. All clear. Sadler got shuffled out of line, and that's all it took. At least there's nobody else behind him who's looking to take over the 4th spot. Travis Glanton, welcome to the stream. This is a good corner for Dale Jr. Returns 3 and 4. Can he have enough momentum to get around Biffle on the other end of the track? I think Biffle even had a better corner than Jr. It's going to be tough to even get alongside Jeff Gordon right now. Biffle's doing his best. And if he does, that'll definitely be the opportunity for Dale Jr. to get around the 24. Unless he can get around the 16 first, he's going to look low. Side by side for second. Dale Jr. works to the inside of Greg Biffle in the 16 right now. And he'll stay low into turns 1 and 2. Still side by side. Looks like there's some smoke from the dogleg that lap before. Biffle back to third. Dale Jr. to a race high second place position. Slow car down on the bottom of the track. And on the apron through turns 3 and 4, he'll get to pit road. I think it might have been the 43 car of Jeff Green. Whoever it was, though, will make it in the pits. We stay green. We nearly saw an accident, I guess, on the backstretch, but we continue to stay green. It's about the lap we were at before we saw that first caution of the race, about 27 laps into the green flag run. Now can Dale Jr. put the pressure on Jeff Gordon to make a pass for the race lead? Gordon really wide into 1 and 2. Jr. chopped the corner off. We'll go back to the far chase cam, at least until we get through the first set of stops today. Nobody pitted during that last caution. Jr. looks to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Just can't quite get there. Big run, though. On the backstretch. Off the curbing. Gordon with a big block. Jr. loose, but actually drove it in. Not only deep, but held on to it. Just cannot get to the inside of Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. Gonna really try to arc the corner off through 1 and 2 a lot better that time. He's rolling the middle of the corner better than Jeff. Trying to get him up off the bottom as much as possible, but Dale Jr. can't do it. Still a little bit before lap traffic becomes a factor. And we're still about 30 laps away from green flag pit stops. Dale Jr. going to enter really wide into turns 3 and 4. Going to try to cut the corner off in the center. Really diamond it off quite a bit to get the run on exit. And he closed in on Gordon quite a bit doing that. He's going to try to do this down in 1 and 2 now. That might be the right game plan. So close to the left rear corner panel of Jeff Gordon. I think he side drafted him just enough, and they're side by side for the lead into turn 3. Great set of setup corners for Dale Jr., and he'll easily get by Gordon through 3 and 4. Clear off the exit of turn 4, and Dale Jr. will lead his first lap of the race. 62 laps to go from last to first. Gordon overdrives turn 1 just a bit. There we go. Larry Mack needs a hot guy. Welcome to the stream. Is that what the trends are saying? Looking at the chat a little too long there. Didn't mess up the corner entry for Dale Jr. at least. Let's see if Dale could start pulling away at all. He's driven a really good race so far. We know these Cup Series races are pretty long. So we'll obviously have to see how the rest of this race is going to play out. More laps, Dale Jr. could lead the better. He comes in 7th in points. And he's about 195 points out of first. Who is rookie Carl Edwards and was running outside the top 20 at least early. A big shot to close that gap quite a bit. Most amount of points you can score in a single race is 190 if you lead the most laps and win. Trivia is always around the halfway mark. So, yep, lap 156 as Mark DeMars stated in the chat. We'll take our first field pass of the race. And we'll see what Mark Truex Jr. and Michael Waltrip are up to. We'll start off with Michael Waltrip in the number 15. And he is back in the 23rd position right now. So Waltrip in 23rd. Right in line behind Sterling Marlin, looking to pass him for 22nd. Drives to the inside pretty quickly through turns 1 and 2, and an easy pass for Michael Waltrip. Sit behind his teammate now, Mark Truex Jr. And really good exit for Waltrip. He'll get to the inside of Truex pretty quickly. His rookie teammate. Good corner there, and Waltrip's up another spot. 21st. A few more laps with Mikey, and then we'll take our field pass to Truex. We obviously know they're running right near one another, but drive for him for a few laps. And up on the track map on the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll be able to see where Dale Jr. is running through the midst of all of this. Waltrip's just less than 13 seconds off the lead of his teammate, Dale Jr. Waltrip driving to the inside of the 21 of Ricky Rudd. And he'll move inside the top 20. Remember, all 3 DEI cars started outside the top 30. Junior moved through the field pretty quick, but Truex and Michael Waltrip are slowly getting up through the field. Now we'll see what Mark Truex Jr. is up to. In the 22nd position. And caution's out for the second time today. We'll probably see the field pit here, I'd have to imagine. And it's going to be debris off the 77 of Travis Quaffle that will bring out caution number 2. He was involved in that first yellow back at lap 27. Surprised his car took that long before the debris finally fell off. About 50 lap green flag run. But caution's out again. Martin Truex Jr. will pit. And we'll see if the rest of the field will pit with him. I would imagine they will on 70 lap older tires. And yes, they are. So the full field will be on their way in. 4 tires and fuel. We'll see if Dale Jr. is going to win the race off of pit road. We'll obviously get to see how Martin Truex Jr. will do on this pit stop as well. Toxic Punk Young Boy, welcome to the stream. Michael Turner, welcome in as well. So our first stop of the race. Under caution number 2. Truex is pitted way towards the front of pit road, it looks like. We'll head to the green flag. Martin Truex Jr. gains a lot of spots on pit road, and he's going to cycle out in 14th. That was huge for the 1. Dale Jr. lost the lead off of pit road, and Jeff Gordon was able to beat him out of the pits. Saw how tough it was for Jr. to get around Jeff Gordon originally earlier. And Truex trying to drive through the field. That was a phenomenal pit stop for the 1 crew. They gained 8 spots on pit road with a 4-tire stop. Highly impressive. Quickly got around 1 car on the restart as well. And he'll get around Jeff Burton. I think there's a shot Truex is going to be in the top 10 here before long. Caution again. My goodness, the 3rd yellow of the day. Just a couple laps after the restart. Getting our work in with Truex. And debris off of Kyle Busch's car. Not sure how he has so much damage on his number 5 Kellogg Chevrolet, but he does. And a piece of the front of that race car has fallen off for our 3rd yellow of the day. So I'd imagine everybody's going to stay off of pit road. Trying to find a trivia question for you guys. I did not get one before the race started, so that way when we get to halfway, I don't have to pause it. Green flag back in the air. Lap 80. Another good launch on the restart for Truex as he drives to the inside of the 29 of Kevin Harvick, and he'll make the pass in turns 1 and 2 in another RCR Chevrolet for 11th. Another opportunity for Dale Jr. to try and get past Gordon on the restart. Jr. still in 2nd. With Gordon pulling him just a bit. Contact in front of Dale Jr. Truex all over the back. One of the Evernham Dodges. Jeremy Mayfield will get to the inside of him, and Truex is inside the top 10 for the first time today, who also started towards the back of the field. Through turns 1 and 2. Truex trying to find a way around Kurt Busch in the 97 car in front of him. Diving in deep into turns 3 and 4. And he is going to make the clean pass on Kurt Busch. Truex up to 7th, and we'll go back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. now, who is in 2nd place, trying to challenge Jeff Gordon for the lead. It's a few laps after the restart, so it may be harder and harder to get around Gordon. More laps on these tires. Pause it for a quick second to get the chat back up. I think I have the trivia question. All right, yeah, I have the trivia question. Black Superman, welcome to the stream. See you in the chat. James, welcome as well. Junior trying to find a way around Jeff Gordon in the 24. He's going to try to arc off the corner. Not as drastically through 1 and 2 as what he did to try and pass Gordon on that last green flag run. Again, Gordon got back in the lead because of pit stops. Junior just trying to force the 24 into a mistake, perhaps. Looking towards the outside in turns 3 and 4. Earnhardt way up the track, trying to cut the corner off in the center to get underneath Gordon off the exit, and he will. Great setup move by Dale Jr., and he may have a shot to get around him in turns 3 and 4. 1 and 2, rather. Current 3 and 4. Gordon going to squeeze Earnhardt, trying to side draft him. He's going to stay alongside the 8 for a little bit longer than what Dale Jr. intended. Off the curbing, contacted Gordon's in the wall on the backstretch. He squeezed Dale Jr. Jr. ran into the curbing, trying to get away from Gordon's side draft. And after he hit the curb, because Gordon was right there, he shot into the 24 and knocked him into the wall. And Stewart's up to second now as Dale Jr. takes his second lead of the race. Now Tony Stewart overdrives 1 and 2, and Gordon's right back into second again. It was cool to see the Cup Series at Gateway. It was nice to experience it because the atmosphere was pretty cool. Definitely feel the fans are getting into it towards the late going of the race with all the late race restarts. Especially on that final restart as Busch and Logano cross each other back and forth. People hearing the crowd oohing and awing over it. A lot of people I talked to at the track this weekend, it was their, primarily their first NASCAR race. Makes sense. I mean, that track hasn't brought in, that many fans. Obviously, they've never sold out before. Used to seeing lower series races for those who were going to that racetrack in the past. And Cup Series is what brought them in. And they seem to enjoy it, too. A couple that I asked if they were going to be back there again next year, they said that they were definitely going back. So, obviously, good to hear. Good to tap into new markets for the Cup Series. And it's one way to build more fans. I haven't really seen the leader pull away at all today, and for the most part that was the case through the first half of last night's race in the Busch Series as well. Sadler pulled away early until that caution at lap 27 stacked things back up. Had 3 yellows already in today's race within those first 80 laps. I didn't even know that was a political thing that James mentioned in the chat. That's how non-political I am. Off the curb. Actually might have scrubbed a little speed off that lap, but Jeff Gordon pretty close behind Dale Jr. It's going to be tough to get around him, though. Lost a little time through 3 and 4 trying that upper lane. It's non-existent at this racetrack. Jr. was able to make it work by widening his arc out in the corner, starting really wide, cutting it down to the bottom, getting a good drive off. But not actually around the outside all the way around the corner. That's just not going to work at this racetrack under this configuration. Dark Crypto, welcome into the stream. Dale Jr. trying to lead as many laps as possible. Has led quite a few laps in the Cup Series season. 391 coming into today's race, even though he only has one win to show for in the first 8 races of the season. Most of those laps led, though, came at Bristol, where he led almost 200. Didn't lead any laps at Texas in the last race, despite getting a top 10. Finished in 9th. Junior pretty wide off turn 2 that time, but Gordon couldn't quite get to the inside. So Junior doesn't feel the pressure, even though the 2 cars of Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon are right behind him. Only 3 different leaders in the first 95 laps of today's race. Sadler from the pole led about the first 30 or so laps before Gordon took the lead shortly after a restart. And Dale Jr. took the lead after a longer green flag run away from Gordon. Caution came out. Everybody pitted during the second yellow. Gordon got back to the lead following the pit stops. Junior fell back to second. Another caution came out quickly while Gordon held on to the lead on the first restart. The second one, though, Dale Jr. got around him. And again, it is so hard to pass on longer green flag runs. That's why it was so vital that Gordon's crew won the race off pit road, but also vital that Junior was able to get around Jeff Gordon on that second restart. Survived the first one. And then they had a quick caution back in the pack again and stacked everybody up. Now, the last 2 cautions have been for debris. Kyle Busch shedded the debris the last time, and then another rookie, Travis Quaffle, shedded the debris for caution 2. There was a wreck at lap 27 between Harvick and Quaffle. Busch was not involved in that. I'm not sure where he got damage to have that debris caution come out, but he had damage somewhere. I wonder if it might have been a stack-up potentially on that second restart. At least one driver out of the race due to an engine failure, and I believe it was Jeff Green in the 43. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm mostly sure that that's who it was that we saw blew up right around 60 or so laps into the race. Everybody has only pitted just the one time during the second yellow. No green flag stops today. Nobody pitted during the first or third cautions. Tony Stewart, by the way, up to second. Got around Gordon a couple laps ago. It's amazing how much better this car is in the clean air. Hasn't stepped over the edge. It's been a lot easier to handle while in the lead. Probably not having to push as hard either compared to when he was in second, trying to desperately get around Gordon and even pass the cars through the field as well. Remember, Dale Jr. started last, but unlike last night's race where he got to the front fairly early because of track position with the early cautions, today it wasn't pit strategy. He flat out drove his way past every car in the field to get to this spot. Had a couple cautions that helped bunch them back together a few times before he got to the lead, but regardless of the fact, he was still had to pass every car on the track and not on pit road. Joshua Rumsey, welcome into the chat and into the stream. 50 laps or so away from our trivia question and the halfway point at tonight's race. Hit that like button for those of you that have not done so already, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Live race commentary coming back again this weekend for the Cup Series. I've done it the last couple weeks, but have not done it for the Cup Series because I was at Gateway for the Cup race last weekend. But I did commentary for the Xfinity race in Portland from my hotel. And then the Cup race the week before that for the 600, I was actually at the Indy 500, so I was not able to do commentary then. I did commentary for the truck race on the Friday night before, at my house before I left Saturday for Indy. But this weekend I'll be back to doing live commentary for the Cup race. And unfortunately, NASCAR's off the following weekend for the Cup Series, but the trucks will be in Knoxville, so I'll be doing live commentary for the Knoxville truck race the following Saturday night. So you have that to look out for on the channel. Flash All-Star Race and Gateway going to be in the update. That's pretty cool. Hopefully those tracks work properly. That's all I ask. Well, we know Texas will be all right because it's already in the game. Gordon underneath Stewart off the exit of turn 2, side by side for second again. And Gordon going to take the spot away. He's got through turns 3 and 4 really, really well. Almost got to the inside of Dale Jr. Not quite, of course. Martin Truex Jr. has an issue on the racetrack. And it looks as if he is unfortunately going to be pulling into the pits. I think Martin Truex Jr. is just blowing an engine. We'll see if he can get through the field, hopefully unscathed as he enters into the dog leg. Caution, lap 108. I think somebody has just ran into the back of Martin Truex Jr. Caution's out for the 4th time already in the race, and I believe there is a big wreck on the backstretch. Oh my goodness. Heavy hit for the 137, and I had a feeling because Truex had blown an engine, was trying to get the pit road, that he had gotten clobbered, and that was the case. Somehow no other cars were involved. There was debris flying on the racetrack following the hit. So Truex's night is going to come to an end. Dale Jr. is going to stay out of the pits here, and we'll see if anybody else is going to pit. It doesn't sound as if anybody else hit pit road, so Truex is out, and it's tough break for the DEI cars. Truex came in 13th in points. That's definitely going to hurt him in the standings. And now Junior going to have to survive the restart, which is where we've seen most of the passes for the lead today. Actually, all of them, except for once on pit road. Junior going wide in 1 and 2 on the restart. That is a mistake, and Tony Stewart's going to get underneath him. Tony trying to take his first lead of the race. He's going to be clear into the corner, but Junior's going to try to cross him over. What a move by Dale Jr. to get back to the inside. Gordon shuffled out of line. Johnson got around him. Side by side for the lead again. And Tony never actually led a lap as he got the wall off turn 4, allowing Junior to clear him back. Edwards gains a couple spots, passing 2 Hendrick Motorsport Chevrolets of Gordon and Johnson to move up to 3rd. And now is on the inside of Stewart for 2nd. Look at Edwards go. And the Scott's number 99 Ford Thunder, or what is it in this game? Not the Thunderbird, not the Fusion. Not an Escalade. It'll come to me eventually. Somebody's probably going to think of it in the chat. I don't think it's the Fusion in 05. I think the Fusion's first year was in 06. Taurus, yes, thank you. Johnson up to 2nd. Edwards quickly back to 4th. Gordon to 3rd. It's a good thing Dale Jr. got back around Tony Stewart as quick as he did on the restart, because we know how hard it is to pass. Not long after the restart, Tony Stewart's already back to 5th place. They're nearly taking the lead away. Just overdrove it on the other end of the racetrack, and Junior is able to quickly get back around him. It's the Mustang now, but Not at this time. Jimmy going a bit wide. Turns 3 and 4. Wonder if we'll see a debris caution from the 137 car. We saw debris fly off of his car on the initial hit with Truex when that caution came out. See if we get any more from it, though. No other cars were involved in the accident. And there it is. Yep, just talked about it. I think that might be debris off of turn 4. Our 5th caution of the race already, and actually it's going to come from Kyle Busch again. Where did he get all that damage from? That's the 2nd debris caution off of the 5 of Busch. He's falling towards the back of the pack, too. We have had so many cautions that we haven't even seen lap traffic on a short track yet in this race. 5 yellows, and we're not even halfway home. Junior's going to stay out of the pits again. And again, it sounds as if most of the field stayed out. So Dale Jr. going to have to survive another restart. Will be Jimmy Johnson in 2nd place this time. Green flag back in the air. And again, Junior kind of overdrives turn 1 from the lead on the restart. And Jimmy Johnson is in the lead. Junior be able to cross him over like he did with Stewart on the last restart. Dale Jr. really low, but he overdrives it. He's going to go way up the racetrack now and maybe in danger of losing more than just the lead. And that will be exactly the case as Mark Martin is up to 2nd. Where did Mark Martin come from? I don't think he was even in the top 5 on the restart, was he? Well, he is now, and he's up to P2. Junior to the inside of Mark for 2nd place. He's going to get back around him. Where did he come from? Because it's exactly right. Mark Martin has been nowhere near the lead, I thought. But he's up there now. Tony Stewart back up to 3rd. He'll get around Mark. Nailed that restart. He's probably going to go right back to where he was running prior to that last caution. Jimmy Johnson leading his first laps of the day right now. Scoring himself some bonus points. Dale Jr. trying to close that gap. Behind him. A few laps after the restart now. We'll see if Dale Jr. can make the pass. Going to widen his arc off into turns 3 and 4. That setup move again. That's how he got around Gordon on the last restart. Just went a few laps after the restart this time. Is he on the inside of the 48? It's tough to tell. He's going to drive it in deep into turns 1 and 2. Johnson going to give Dale Jr. plenty of room. And Jr. is going to complete the pass off turn 2. That same move he used to get around Gordon is going to work to get around Jimmy Johnson for the lead. Even a little bit further after the restart. I think Dale Jr. is going to be the car to beat tonight. Old man Martin, yeah. This was, what was this? His first final season in the 6 car? He announced retirement, and then he came back for one more year in 06. Then he left again, and then he ran part-time. Mark Martin was the Brett Favre of NASCAR. Just would not retire. Luckily, it wasn't an injury that retired Mark Martin at the end of his career like Brett Favre, but still competitive, too, like Favre was when he played for the Vikings. That's a interesting comment from Larry Mack. Still didn't see the debris from the 137 car. We've only seen 2 accidents tonight, but we've seen 5 cautions. 3 of them for debris. 2 off Kyle Busch. And then 1 off of Travis Quaffle. Tony Stewart the second. Tony still has not led a lap. Far enough after the restart, Junior's starting to feel more comfortable. It's going to be harder to get around him. Junior has shown now twice that he is able to get around cars on non-restarts today for the lead. Nobody else has been able to do that on a non-restart. So it is going to be tough to beat Dale Jr., especially if the race ends on a long green flag run. But if it ends on a shootout to the end, couple laps, and the way the cautions have flown today so far, I would not be surprised if that happens. Picking Larson at Sonoma, not Chastain. Larson won there last season. Well, we'll take our second field pass of the day. It means we only have Michael Waltrip to ride along with. We'll see what Mikey's up to. And we'll see what position he's in. Unfortunately for Truex, before he blew the engine and then was involved in that accident, he had just gotten inside the top 10 and was actually up to 7th. Oh, caution! Oh, we got trouble! Dale Jr.'s around in turn 1! Oh no! The leader, while we weren't even keeping control of him, has spun. Everybody missed him, luckily. Into the inside. Oh, no, never mind. I spoke too soon. Somebody clobbered him. How did that happen? Caution's out for the 6th time today. Joe Nemechek was the one that hit him. Caution is out. We'll see if the field pits. They will peel onto pit road. Stewart's going to lead the race now, and Michael Waltrip will come into pit as well. 4 tires and fuel, second stop of the night, our 6th yellow. LGBT NASCAR fan, welcome to the stream. Taking Allmendinger to win this weekend. That's a bold pick. I think he can have a good run. He had a top 10 at Gateway last week. The shorter intermediate tracks, Allmendinger's been pretty good at, because he ran really well at Dover before getting wrecked too earlier this season. R6R6, welcome into the chat. This has been a caution fest race, and I have not brought one out yet on myself, so I feel confident as far as that goes, at least. Dale Jr. wins the race off pit road, so I guess I'm not upset about him being involved in that accident. What is up with the wheels on the pace car? It looks like the axle's broken, both the front and the rear. Big time pit stop for Michael Waltrip. Gains 5 positions on pit road, and he'll be 8th place on the restart. Put the bumper to Bobby Labonte going off into turns 1 and 2. And he is going to make the bump and run pass for 7th. Look at Mikey go. He's 23rd in points, and if he's going to want a shot at making the chase, he's going to have to get going now. He's got the capability of a great run. The DEI cars have been really fast tonight, but unfortunately, Truex is out, even though he was in the top 10. He didn't qualify well, but running well now. Waltrip to the inside of Stewart. Drives it in deep. After the restart is a perfect time to get around cars, and Michael Waltrip is under Sadler now. Gets into Gordon just a bit. Sadler's in the wall off of turn 4. Waltrip may have squeezed him for that 5th place position. Mark Martin back to the inside of his teammate Carl Edwards for position. Waltrip drives it in deep now underneath Jeff Gordon. And they're going to be 3 wide because Carl Edwards is up high. Will they make it off the exit of turn 4? Waltrip didn't make contact with Edwards, but he is going to get to the inside as Carl hit the wall. And Michael Waltrip's up to 3rd. Martin looking for the lead on Dale Jr. Waltrip deep into turns 3 and 4. Drives to the inside of Mark Martin. Not going to get around him that time. Waltrip maybe going to try a setup corner through turns 3 and 4. Didn't go as wide as what we saw out of Dale Jr. earlier in the race. Not going to be able to get around him, and we'll flash back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. towards the front of the field, but Jr. bobbles into turn 1, and Mark Martin's going to get to the lead. Martin has not led yet today and is looking to lead his first lap of the race. We'll see if Mark's going to be able to lead a lap, though. Junior with the bump and run. Oh, he may squeeze him into the wall. He did. Oh, and contact. Waltrip got into the back of Mark Martin, and Waltrip's going to lose a bunch of positions on the front straightaway. Junior back in the lead. Martin did not lead a lap. Oh, poor Mikey. Right when he got up to third. That's unfortunate. That's the second DEI car to drive himself near or in the top 5 and had an issue. No caution came out for that, though, and it's a 2-horse race at the front of the field between Dale Jr. and Mark Martin. And now that we're racing as Dale Jr. again, I don't expect him to lose the lead this time. Hoping Waltrip can get back up here. Who doesn't want to see Michael Waltrip finish in the top 5 on a non-super speedway? Fast pit stop to get him 5 spots on pit road, restarted in 8th, and drove his way up to 3rd before getting into the back of Martin off turn 4. After Martin got squeezed into the wall by Waltrip's teammate Dale Jr., battling for the lead moments after the restart. These restarts have not been kind to Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. It's 6 cautions in today's race. Both the pit stops have been under caution flag periods. We're still not halfway. Most cautions we've ever had in NASCAR 06 was in the Busch race at Texas, where we saw 13 yellows in just a 200-lap race. Most of the Cup Series this season is 10, and we're already over halfway there, and we're not halfway through this race yet. Won the Indy Road Course in 3 overtimes. Well, congrats to you. I kind of wanted to drive Waltrip into the lead to get him 5 bonus points and then have the team orders pull him back, but unfortunately he got in the back of Mark Martin before that could happen, after we already put ourselves back in the 8 car. Low Junior was through 3 and 4 that time. Just protecting the bottom as much as he possibly can. A few laps away from our trivia question tonight when we get to the halfway mark. This has to be my strongest race car I think I've had on this game in any of the series yet. We were fast at Phoenix, but I just couldn't get the track position, couldn't get to the lead. Still finished 7th. I never led a lap. This one, Junior's got a great shot to lead the most laps, and obviously, in my opinion, has the fastest car on the racetrack today. If he can just keep the track position and stay ahead of strategy, he'll be fine. It's like we almost had an accident off turn 4 that last lap. A lot of smoke. Turn 2, rather. Current turn 4, old turn 2. This is the old Phoenix. The old Phoenix. Gone through a couple of configuration changes over the last decade or so. This one they still had grass. Even when they initially took the grass out of it, I think it was 2011, they still had the... They took the grass out, but it's the current configuration you see now, but the start-finish line was where it is in this game. I like the look of old Phoenix. Something about grass at a racetrack, it looks better to me. Makes it look more of like a sporting venue. If that makes any sense at all. Martin went a bit wide through turns 1 and 2, lost a bit of ground to Dale Jr. again. 2 more laps away from the halfway point today. Dale Jr.'s dominated the race at Phoenix despite starting last. Drove his way up through the field after the first 62 laps. He's led most of the laps since. I'd assume at this point in the race he's probably led more than anybody else as well. Because it took Gordon over 30 laps just to get to the lead originally when Sadler was leading too. Don't forget Elliott Sadler started on the pole in this race way back when. After he lost the lead though, he's been non-existent. Halfway now officially at the start-finish line, 156 laps down, 156 still to go on the 312-lap, 312-mile race around this 1-mile racetrack at Phoenix. Tonight's trivia question is, only 3 races in NASCAR Cup Series history at Phoenix have had more than 10 cautions. In what years did those races take place? So that is tonight's trivia question. Again, 3 times there have been more than 10 cautions. And, well, speaking of cautions, cautions out for the 7th time today. We'll see what that is, and then I'll go back to the trivia question. Oh, Michael Waltrip just wrecked. Oh, man. Drove it in too deep, off the curb, and then into the side of one car who was... oh, and it was his own car! Oh, no! Kenny Wallace, the MWR car, got squeezed into the wall by his owner after he hit the curb, sparking our 7th yellow of the race. Things are going bad for Waltrip all of a sudden. He was up in 3rd, and then he almost got in a wreck on the restart, and then he fell back in traffic, then he hit the curb and drove his own car into the wall, causing himself and his own car to wreck. A couple others were involved. I think both the RCR cars of Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton also involved. And out of the restart where Junior has struggled the most today. Mark Martin is going to struggle that time, though, through 1 and 2, getting a bit tight. It's going to help Dale Jr. hold on to the lead, even though he went wide himself. Big bounce off the curb for Dale Jr. as the field is bunched back together again. Jeff Gordon to 2nd, Edwards to 3rd. 3 Roush cars in the top 5 right now. Biffle's back in 5th. All running 3rd through 5th are those 3. So again, tonight's trivia question is, what are the 3 years? You don't have to name the specific races, spring or fall, but what 3 years did the only 3 Phoenix Cup races that had more than 10 cautions take place? As soon as I see somebody answer it correctly in the chat, I will shout you guys out. 2005, 2007, 2013. Nope on that one. 98, 04, 2010. That is not right. 2005, 2016, 2011 is not correct. You get unlimited guesses as well. Edwards up to second now, getting around Gordon. Cameron Duty, welcome to the stream. Watch some excited racing. Thanks for tuning in. Newcomer of the channel. 2007, 2010, 2014. I will give a hint at lap 170, and then I'll give the answer to the question at lap 175 if you guys do not get the answer correct by then. Greg Biffle from 5th on the restart, up to the inside of Carl Edwards for 2nd. And how about Elliott Sadler regathering himself back in the top 5 on the outside of Stewart in the battle for 4th right now. Martin, not a good restart again. Fall back a bit. Edwards trying to cross his teammate Biffle back over. 2015, 2017, 2009. Nope. Biffle to the inside of Dale Jr. for the lead. Jr. not going to give this up easy. Trying to cross Biffle back over. Oh, he moved him. Well, that's one way to do it. Talk about an aggressive move, and Biffle got the wall as an aftermath of it. He did not lead his first lap of the race that time. Jr. moved him up out of the way and got the lead back himself. And Gordon up to P2. 03, 08, 2018. Nope, nope, and nope. Give you guys a hit in a few laps. 2004, 2014, 2006. Nope. Santiago Kid, welcome to the stream. Missed a trivia question. We're in the middle of the trivia question right now. I'll give you guys a hint to that question in a couple laps, and I'll re-give you guys the question for those of you who may have missed it over the last few laps. Tony Stewart quickly back up to second, but then Biffle crosses him over, trying to get back to the inside himself. 03, 94, 2020. Close. That is by far the closest I've seen. Lap 170 at the line. So again, tonight's trivia question and then the hint to that question is, what are the only 3 years in which there were more than 10 cautions in a cup race at Phoenix? That is tonight's trivia question. The hint to that question is... let me think of a hint. I don't want to give it away with the hint. Mark DeMars' answer was close, and I'll say he got 2 of those years correct. That'll be the hint. So Mark DeMars, in his most recent guess in the chat, answered... Sorry, he only answered 1 year correct. His second to last... Yeah, his second to last one was the closest. So in Mark DeMars' second to last guess in the chat, he got 2 of them correct. That will be the hint. The guess where he had 2004, 2014, and 2006. He had 2 of them right there. So that is tonight's hint. So you know 2 of those 3 are it, and then you'd have to get the 3rd one also. And you have a few more laps to try and do it. It's a lap 175, conclusion of that lap. I'll give the answer to the trivia question. If we're pulling away from the cars behind him as they continue the battle for 3rd on back. 94, 2020, 2022, nope. This year's race actually only had 6 cautions, if I remember right. I know it was less than 10. think it was 6. It was the least amount of cautions we've seen in a race this year. Actually, no, Richmond, there was 5. That was the least amount we've seen in a race this year. Two more laps. 04, 06, 09. It's definitely a tough trivia question tonight. Nope, still haven't seen it right. 06, 03, 94. Nope. Guys are going in the wrong direction. So Mark DeMars had 2 of them right on that 2004, 2014, and 2020. I haven't seen many more guesses with at least 2 of those dates in it. I still haven't seen the answer to the question, I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong when I give the answer in the chat. Again, tonight's trivia question was, what are the only 3 years in which a Cup Series race at Phoenix had more than 10 cautions? The answer to the question was 2004, and the only race that season, 2014 in the fall race, and then the 2020 spring race. So those were the 3 years that there were more than 10 cautions in a Phoenix race. 2004, 2014, and 2020. I don't think anybody got that right. Actually, wait a minute. I think Mark DeMars had it. 2004. Yeah, he had 20. I think he had 2008. He had 2004 and 2014. I think he had... You did just say that? 2020. Oh, you said it as I was saying it, though. That's tough. I didn't see... When I started to give the answer to the question, I don't think you commented yet. I'll give you a half point for that. I was in the middle of giving the answer. I think on my end, I gave the answer before you gave the chat, because the chat's a little delayed from what I'm actually saying. Not much, but there is a little bit of a delay. I think I was saying it as you had typed it. I'll give you a half a point on that one. Yeah, you got it like right at the horn. It was after lap 175, though, when you did get it. But that is the answer to tonight's trivia question. Well, thanks for playing. A lot of you guys are casting your guesses in the chat. It was a tough question. We'll be back with it tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll have a Talladega track fact, because that is where our next Cup race is on this NASCAR 06 season. Carl Edwards overdriving 1 and 2. He's going to go wide. He's going to hang on to second, it looks like, in front of Elliott Sadler and Tony Stewart, who are still side by side for third place behind him. Take the half point, yeah. Hey, it's better than nothing. Halfway on field for Dale Jr. Comment down below, how many cautions do you think we're going to see tonight? We've had 7 of them already. Our record for this season in the Cup Series is 10. And our record overall on NASCAR 06 was a Busch race at Texas last week on Friday night, in which we had 13 yellows. And the race ended under caution as well after a green-white checker. Cameron Duty says 11. 21 by Craig Franklin. We'd have to go at an absurd pace at the end of this race. That would really drag the second half of this race on if we have yellow after yellow after yellow. Deep dive by Stewart. And that deep dive by Tony backed up the corner so much, as well as Dale Jr., that Sadler actually got to the outside of Stewart and gets to the outside of Dale Jr. into 3. But because he did not get to the bottom, Stewart's got to get right back around him, I'd have to assume. And Sadler in the wall off turn 4, and Edwards nearly got into the back of the 38. Stewart's been through a lot today. He still has not led a lap, and now he overdrives 1 and 2. He's not going to lead this lap. He's going to lose out on second place to Sadler again. Sadler on the bottom this time, and should be able to hold on. Gonna see your first NASCAR truck race this weekend. Awesome, man. Yeah, Truck Series hasn't been in Sonoma, I think, since, what, 2000? Or in the early 2000s at least. What race had the most cautions this year? That was the Coke 600 a few weeks ago. 18, right? That's how many yellows they had? I think that's more cautions than any race we've seen the last handful of years. I don't know when the last race we had more than 15 cautions in a cup race outside of the Coke 600 a few weeks ago. 300. That's not even possible considering we have 312 laps and have at least 3 laps under the caution each time. Santiago Kid says 15. You guys are being very bold with your predictions. Cameron Duty said 11. I'd probably lean towards that. Again, nobody's a lap down on the racetrack because of all the cautions we've seen in the first 189 laps of today's race. We haven't had a long enough green flag run to get to lap traffic. Should still be a 1-stop race to the finish and a 3-stop race total. Again, that pit window is right around 90 laps. Thing is, though, if we see a caution between now and about 90 to go, does Dale Jr. pit? So you don't want to stay out to keep the lead of everybody else behind you pits, because then you're going to have to pit out long into the green flag run, and the way the cautions have flown today, you could get trapped a lap down if that is the case. It'd be the last thing Dale Jr. would want, because he's got the best car in the field. He drove from the back to get to this point once, but he doesn't want to have to do it again. Especially now that we're in the late going. He had 312 laps to do it at the start of the race. If it wasn't for him running the Busch Series race, I don't think he would have driven that far up through the field. But he had a good setup in the race car. And I'd say it's working out better for him in this Cup race than what it was in the Busch race last night. No, I meant in the Cup Series. I know the Xfinity Series at Martinsville this year had 16. But I meant in the Cup Series that had more than 15 cautions. I couldn't tell you when the last time that's happened. Outside of, again, the Coke 600 this year. I think the Xfinity Series at Portland last weekend had, what, 13 yellows? 12 or 13? That was only in a 75-lap race. Wonder if there's a chance for Michael Waltrip to get back up through the field. Being involved in that last caution. Along with his own race car of Mike Wallace, but Kenny Wallace. 00 Aaron's Dream Machine. Crazy how much of a roller coaster of a race Waltrip has had. Really, DEI outside of Dale Jr. has had. Truex started out at the back, got up to about 7th place, blew an engine. Michael Waltrip started even further behind, outside the top 35. Got his way up to 3rd. Stacked up on a restart. Fell outside the top 10. Then he crashed on the backstretch, and he crashed into his own race car. And the only MWR car in the field in the 00 of Kenny Wallace. Bringing out the yellow. Yeah, last year's Cup race had... Well, it might not have had that many cautions at COTA because the rain ended the race short. There probably could have been more yellows. They actually kept it green during a lot of the spins that you were seeing on the racetrack. I don't think it had 10. I would be shocked if it had more than 10, honestly, with it ending early. Because outside of the big wrecks, I don't really remember there being a caution. Probably might have been a few here and there. There was those 2 or 3 big accidents. That was about it. Greg Biffle tried to do what nobody other than Dale Jr. has done today, and that is pass Jr. on a long green flag run. Jr. drove it in deep. He couldn't get back around him with the crossover, and Greg Biffle will lead his first lap of the race today. He just outright took the lead away from Dale Jr. Just passed the fastest car in the field cleanly. Jr. never made a mistake. Jr. in that middle upper groove. The older tires, he can't get the rotation down to the bottom, though, like he wanted to. Has to defend on Tony Stewart behind him, and Stewart overdrives 1 and 2. It's going to give a little bit of clearance for Jr. to try and arc the corner off into 3 and 4 again. We'll see if he can diamond it off to get back to the inside of Biffle this time. It's going to go really wide. And there he goes. He got the arc in at that time. Drives to the inside of the 16. Side by side for the lead off turn 4. Lap 200 at the line. Biffle leads by inches. Dale Jr. with the advantage down low into turns 1 and 2. Biffle squeezes Earnhardt. Not a lot of room there. Still side by side. Tony Stewart closing in behind as these two are side drafting the heck out of each other. Tony wants to follow Dale Jr. on the bottom to get by Biffle for second. Jr. drives it in really deep. Somehow held it down on the yellow line all the way through the corner. Thought he was going to slide up the track, but he didn't. And he'll clear Biffle with the clean pass. A few laps after Biffle took the lead. 10 plus cautions at Indy last year? There might have been. I said more than 15, though. I know I can definitely recall races even this season that have had more than 10 cautions. I think Vegas had like 12 of them. Kansas had quite a few. I think Darlington had right around 10. Probably the most intense battle for the lead we've seen all day today on a long green flag run. And Jr. back in the lead in the car that passed him. Biffle's in 4th. He's trapped behind the side-by-side cars for second, Stewart and Sadler. They seemingly have been side-by-side quite a bit during this green flag run. Quarter tank of gas left for Dale Jr. The window will open to the end of the race in about another 20 laps. Blame Goodyear for the majority of the cautions this year. This is very true. Sad part is they haven't even thrown the caution every time somebody blows a tire. Otherwise, we could see even more yellows. But a lot of times they just had to limp it back around in your green flag because the rubber's not really chunking off the car and there's no debris, so they keep it green. Get out of the way. Like with Briscoe this last weekend. I agree with you though, Tyler. Heard of Clint Boyer's parents and diners driving and dives. No, I haven't. Was this recent? Or is this like an older episode? Actually, when I was at my hotel, they had American Ninja Warrior, like older episodes of it, airing on the TV in the lobby where I was eating my dinner. And, because there was a restaurant down there. And anyway, they had American Ninja Warrior on the TV. I had no clue Ryan Blaney partook in that once. I was like, hey, that's Ryan Blaney. And then Stenhouse was on the episode, which I had seen him on one before. My grandma watches it quite a bit, so if I go over to her house, sometimes it'll be on. I saw Stenhouse on there before, but I had no clue Ryan Blaney tried to do it. Aired May 1st, 2015. No, I had no clue. What is that for PIR? PLR? This man is MRN Radio, the voice of NASCAR. If that's a comment towards my commentating, I appreciate it. I don't know if that's a capital. It's probably a L. Spelled lowercase at the other letters. Just over 100 laps to go yet. One of the shorter races of the season, but with all the cautions we've seen, it might not seem that way. We've had 7 of them so far. This has actually been one of the longer green flag runs of the race since the most recent yellow. They're a little bit into the fuel and tire stint, so they're not going the full fuel and tire stint during this green flag run alone, but we have not seen green flag pit stops yet today. We're not too far away from seeing it. So it'll be very interesting to see how this is going to work itself out. Dale Jr.'s pit crew got him the lead on pit road once from second to first, and they'd also lost him the lead from first to second on the other stop. Been the only 2 of the day so far. A lot of the field bunched together right now, though, so green flag pit stop's going to be of high importance. Jr. had struggled trying to get to pit road during his only potential green flag stop of the Busch race last night at Phoenix. Trying to learn from that and get onto pit road without any issues this time. Sadler to the inside of Stewart for second. Yeah, that's right. Auto Club had a lot of yellows too. Atlanta, I think Atlanta had more than 10 cautions also, if I remember right. Yeah, what is the extent of Carson Hocevar's injury? I saw he's going to try to race this weekend. It sounds like Daniel Suarez is probably going to practice to maybe qualify the truck, and the hope is that Hocevar is likely going to start the race and they're going to do a driver swap so Hocevar can get points at least. And remember, he's barely inside the cutoff line right now. And once they get through this weekend and next weekend at Knoxville, I think they have like 3 weeks off. So that could be a good healing period for him. It's still going to be a quick recovery, though, in 5 weeks, but they only have a few races left before the playoffs. And he's barely above the cutoff line. Yeah, Sadler back into second after qualifying on the pole. They have a shot to win this in the final 100 laps. 98 laps to go that time by at the line for Dale Jr. Trying to make it to at least 91 laps to go to try and make it on fuel to the end of the race is the call for the 8 team. Nobody has made any green flag stops yet. All trying to make it within the window to the end of the race. And with all the yellows we've seen today as well, you don't want to see a caution come out after you've already pitted. We've seen that a lot in the truck series this season, where it seems like we get cautions in the middle of green flag pit stops. Haven't really seen it much in the Busch in the Cup Series side of things, but we'll see. Could be possible. Carson's your new favorite driver? Dale Jr. has now clinched the most laps led in the race, and we still have 96 to go. Telling of how much he has dominated the race today. He has one win this year in the Cup Series, and remember that that took place all the way back in California. Never mind, he's got 2 wins. He also won at Martinsville, but both of those races were 50% races. Dale Jr. has not gone to victory lane in a 100% race. And even his one Busch win was in a 50% race as well. So I've not won a 100% race in the Cup or the Busch Series in this game. Pre-screwed Hocevar Charlotte? No, that... The caution screwed Hocevar, and then on the restart, Hocevar screwed Hocevar. I don't think Priest did anything wrong on the restart. He was the one that got squeezed into the wall, and then Hocevar ran into him again in 3 and 4, losing control. Very low on fuel for Dale Jr. He is really trying to get this to at least 91 to go before he pits. Just a few laps away from it as we're at lap 220 of 312. Just has to run a couple more laps. Nobody has hit pit road yet. And it sounds like some of the field will be on their way in this time. 92 to go at the line that time by. Michael Waltrip will be on pit road, one of the first cars to pit. So this could be a fuel mileage race today at Phoenix all of a sudden. Junior going to stay out one more lap. It'll be 91 to go this time by. Really does not want a caution to come out in the middle of green flag stops if he can help it. Junior trying to go for the regular season title. Edwards has had a decent day today after not qualifying well. Junior going to stay out one more lap. He's really going to risk it on fuel here. Just extra safety precaution so he can make it to the end. 90 laps to go now as he continues to lead. But he is going to pit this time. He doesn't want to risk it another lap in case he runs out of gas. Car's getting up to speed right now in the backstretch. Nowhere close to in front of Dale Jr. Junior will pit this time. We'll see if Elliott Sadler will be on his way in as well. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Dale Jr., and he is in. 4 tires and fuel for Dale Jr., and no adjustments needed to be made as he has had the dominant car all race long. Sadler will take the lead once again. Lower leg injury, which is very vague. Yeah. I think it's more of his ankle, like in his foot area. I could be wrong, but yeah, we don't know the extent of his injury. I'm surprised they haven't said anything. Green flag back in the air. Looks like Tony Stewart's going to cycle ahead of Dale Jr., one of the cars that had pitted before Dale. Sadler's still in the lead. Junior in 10th, but he's a lap down. Sadler's trying to stay out in case we get a caution. I think Junior's going to be good on fuel to the end. He's only going to have to go 89 laps from the time he had made his way off of pit road. I say only 89. They haven't gone a full fuel run during green flag conditions. Again, we had a caution in the middle of this fuel run the drivers have been pitting recently on. Losing the track position is going to be costly for Junior, but I don't think it's going to be overwhelming. I think he's got the car capable of getting back up there. It's going to be harder to pass the leader more than anything when the time comes. His car feels planted to the ground and stable enough, and he knows he's got the time and the laps to be able to try and do it. Sadler still on the track, hoping for a caution to trap most of the field a lap down right now. Sadler on his way in off turn 4 this time. He'll be giving up the lead. It was a pretty efficient stop from the 8 team, all things considered, on pit road when he was just there. Definitely the longest green flag run of the race so far. Over 60 laps during this current green flag run. Who will be the leader when everybody cycles off the pits? Sadler trying to get up to speed on the bottom of the track. He's just going to lose out on the lead right now. Sadler will be out in 3rd with Edwards right in line behind him. Dale Jr. going to drive it in deep into 3 and 4, getting to the inside of the 18 of Bobby Labonte. I think the 22 car up ahead either hasn't pit yet or he is a lap down. I'd be shocked if Scott Wimmer cycled himself into the top 5. No, he's a lap down because Dale Jr. just passed Labonte for position in 5th. So Wimmer's the first lap car these guys having to deal with, so I guess Sadler would have cycled out in 2nd ahead of Edwards. Edwards is the points leader, but I don't think he's led a lap yet today. Been as high as 2nd, very briefly in this race. Edwards just got to run the lap car of Wimmer. Biffle trying to do the same, and Junior will also follow in suit. Biffle now to the inside of Edwards off of turn 2. That was a great corner for the Biff. And Dale Jr. trying to follow Greg Biffle to get back to the inside of Edwards himself. He is there. Great exit to turn 4 as well. Now Junior looks to the inside of Biffle. He may be there. 3 wide into turn 1 for Junior underneath the Roush cars of Biffle and Edwards. Biffle clears Edwards up high. Junior gets both of them in the same corner, and he's up to 3rd. I think only Dale Jr. would be able to pull that off today with as fast of a car as he has. And quickly to the inside of the 38 of Sadler for 2nd. Dale Jr. is on a mission to run down Tony Stewart right now. And he's passed everybody in the top 5 cleanly after the green flag pit stops. Junior to 2nd now, clear of Sadler into turn 1. Sadler gets down to the bottom in front of Edwards. Hardest car to pass, though, will be the leader in the clean air. Junior's been able to do it on a long enough green flag run once before. He'll try to do it again, actually twice. He's been able to do it. The only car that's been able to do it outside of him was Biffle once. These are the first laps Tony Stewart has led in the race today. Under green, at least. He did lead under caution earlier. These are his first green flag laps led of the evening. Edwards had just gotten around Sadler for 3rd. Can alternate through the different camera angles for the final time in today's race over about the next 12 laps or so. Caution. Well, never mind. Our 8th of the race, and that will end our longest green flag run of the day, which went almost 80 laps. Debris off the 137 car. He had that damage from all the way back from that truex accident, which was shy of lap 100, so he has gone over 100 laps before that hood finally fell off. Surprised they didn't try to repair it during the green flag pit stops as well, but that will be the 8th caution of the day. Junior going to stay out. I think he's good on fuel to the end. This caution's definitely going to help as well. You'd only have to go 89 laps, and it would be about 86 green flag laps now, and I think the rest of the field's going to stay out. Maybe some at the back of the pack will pit. Green flag back in the air. This is the shot for Junior to get around Stewart on the restart. Got a great launch into turn one. He's going to look for the lead to the inside. Contact as he tries to move Stewart up out of the way. Runs him clear up the racetrack. An aggressive move by Earnhardt, and he is out in front at Phoenix again. Wasted no time to get around Tony Stewart. You can tell Junior wants to win this race badly. Has not won a 100% race in both the Busch and the Cup Series, and he's trying to do that here tonight. In the 9th race of the Cup season, we've already had 9 Busch races. Sorry, this is the 8th race of the Cup season, not 9. I'll have to change that in the chat and the thumbnail. I made a mistake on that earlier. I meant to fix it and I didn't. Edwards to second. Stewart back into P2, or at least on the inside of Edwards. Should be able to get around him in 1 and 2 this time. Eight points out of 3rd, you said? How many games do you have left? 34, 31, and 3. So if I do my math right, you have 5 games to go. That's gotta be really close for you, Billy. 4 games to go, sorry. Or wait a minute, hang on. It's only... Oh, that's only 68 games. You got plenty of time left. 14 games. Not 4. It'll be close still, but you're probably gonna have to... If I'm gonna have to guess out of the 14, you're probably gonna have to win and get 2 points in probably 10 or 11 of those games. And now we have another caution back in the pack, our 9th of the day. So the caution's starting to breed cautions again. And it looks like more debris off of the 50 of Jimmy Spencer. Mr. Excitement. Caution is out again at the Phoenix International Raceway. Junior going to have to try to survive another restart today. This is probably his weakest suit. Even though he had a strong restart the last time, can he replicate that as we get later and later into the race? Green flag back in the air. Good launch for Junior. Edwards going to overdrive 1 and 2. Great restart for Dale Earnhardt Jr. that time. Probably his best from the lead all day today. Edwards may lose second to Elliott Sadler. Oh, wow, only 12 points out of the division lead. That's tight, then. Really tight playoff race. Still just over 60 laps to go in the race. We're up to 9 cautions in this event today. Somebody predicted 9 earlier. What year did Jimmy Spencer stop driving? I think it was after 05. I think this was his last season. He wasn't in the last couple of games. He's in this one. Take it over for Derek Cope in that number 50 car, who was in 50 last season. In NASCAR 05 at least. Dale Jr. is pulling away off of this restart. He's got about a 6/10 of a second lead as the field continues to battle back behind him. Take our final field pass of the race, and we'll see what Michael Waltrip in the 15 car is up to right now. Waltrip back in 24th. Oh, we got a wreck on the front stretch. Everybody was stacking up. What happened? Marlin goes around. And that'll bring out caution number 10. I don't know what the stack up was for, but there was a major stack up going into turn 1. Our 10th yellow of the race today. We have now hit double digits, and we are one away from having the most in a single race on this season. Still 3 shy of the NASCAR 06 record. Green flag back in the air. Waltrip in 24th. Was involved in a wreck earlier in the race. Junior having to survive a restart at the front of the field for right now. Can Waltrip find a way around Sterling Marlin? He's going to drive it in deep. Contact with Marlin. Ran him up the racetrack for 23rd, and he'll clear him off the exit of turn 4. Well, we had some last night, but we didn't have any the night before, and I didn't stream on Sunday or Monday, so I was gone. Dale Jr. on the inside of Joe Nemechek, a little contact up in front. This group of cars, a little bump and run for Waltrip to get by Nemechek for position off of turn 2. Michael drives it in deep. Down towards the bottom of the track into 3 and 4. Got to clear the 25 cleanly. Michael going to be aggressive into turn 1 this time. Maybe a little too aggressive. Well, he does get to the inside of his own race car. Kenny Wallace. Last time he did that in this area of the track, he wrecked both himself and Wallace. And he'll make the pass on him in 3 and 4 for 20th. Go back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. Oh, Jr. is wrecked. And we have a caution. What has happened to Dale Jr.? Our 11th of the race. That is unbelievable. Caution is out for the 11th time today, and it's the leader. I wonder if he got turned from somebody. We fast forward, he was already around. And he has lost a lot of track position now. And we're going to head to the restart. I'm not going to count myself being involved in that accident, so I'm not going to pit. Because I didn't even have control of him. Second time that's happened today. Another yellow, our 11th of the race. Green flag back in the air. Junior is in 12th. Edwards is going to lead on the restart. And we have just less than 50 laps to go. I cannot believe what just happened there. Wade Solinsky, welcome to the stream. And a race that Dale Jr. has dominated. Can he come back to win from 12th? It feels as if he's got damage. Of course, he's back in the pack a little more, so he's going to be a bit tighter because of it. We'll bump and run to get by Gordon for 11th. I don't know if the cautions are done yet. That's 3 back-to-back that we just saw. Carl Edwards out in front at Phoenix. Must be a glitch at this track, because, yeah, that is the second time we've seen it. Then they stacked up on that last restart, or that last time when we went to Waltrip. And we saw an AI wreck. Junior drives it in deep into 3 and 4, trying to get to the inside of Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. He'll stay underneath him off the exit of turn 4. It's hard to pass that Phoenix. He has time to get to the front, but he doesn't have a lot of it. Less than 50 to go. And on a little bit older tires, of course. Still, even with all the caution laps, it's going to be over 75 green flag laps on these tires to the end of the race. We're back inside the top 10. I think I see Mike Bliss up inside the top 10. He's had a few of those already this season. Battling for the Rookie of the Year honors. Edwards leading the way and leading the point standings and leading the race. Looking for his 3rd Cup win. And it'd be his 6th win between the Busch and the Cup Series combined. He's got 3 in the Busch Series. Remember, he is a rookie, though, in that 99 car. He's doing a great job right now. Biffle, a great run off 4. Not as great as Dale Jr. Jr. looking low underneath the Biff that time. Can't get underneath him, though, and Jr. is going to go wide and may be in danger of losing a spot to Bobby Labonte. Almost, but not quite. Junior will hang on in front of the 18. He'll block him going into turn 3. A lot of cars to pass. Thinks the only mistake he's made was when I wasn't driving the race car. Off the curb. Desperately trying to get to the inside of the 2 of Rusty Wallace after Biffle had just got around the 2 car. Biffle did not get to the bottom in time. And Dale Jr. is going to get underneath him now for 8th as well. And he'll clear him. He's passed 2 cars in the last 2 corners. Ryan Newman, Mike Bliss, the next 2 cars in front of him. I believe Mark Martin in front of Bliss in 5th. Tony Stewart's in 4th. Ken's at 3rd. Actually, it might be Sadler in 3rd. No, Sadler's 2nd. Kenseth's 3rd. And then Edwards is the leader. Wallace at 9th. Biffle 10th. That is the top 10 right now. 50 laps to go this time by, or sorry, 40 laps to go this time by. Is this going to be the final green flag run to the end of the race? Good thing Newman's not a rival of Dale Jr. anymore. Penske sandwich for Jr. with Wallace right behind him. You know, Newman, it's going to be tough to pass. Doesn't matter whether it's younger Newman or older Newman. Dale Jr. going to try to widen his arc off into turns 3 and 4. A little harder to do this in traffic, but he will get to the inside of Newman. And hopefully he can complete the pass in turns 1 and 2. He had a little spacing behind him from Wallace, so that's why he went for that pass right then and there. And he'll clear Newman off the exit of turn 2. And he'll block him on the backstretch for 7th. Bliss made a pass on Stewart for 5th that last lap as well. Mike Bliss inside the top 5 right now, and he is challenging Mark Martin for 4th. To the inside of Martin. Bliss has had a top 5 already this year. Looking for a 2nd. I believe this would be his 4th or 5th top 10 of the season. But Bliss is going to get around, or Stewart's going to get around Bliss, rather. Martin actually made a pass for 3rd on his teammate Kenseth. Into turns 1 and 2. Earnhardt trying desperately to get back around Bliss. Bliss to the inside of Stewart instead. Side by side again for 5th, right in front of Dale Jr. Jr. a little loose. Stepped a little bit over the edge getting into the corner. Bliss has cleared Stewart off the exit of turn 4. 35 laps to go. Junior has already, by far, clinched the most laps led today. I would not be surprised if he goes on to lead almost 200 laps in this race. But finding himself behind on this latest restart, where he lost control of his car while we weren't controlling him. We were controlling Michael Waltrip at the time. Junior was leading. Track position important. It's going to be tough to pass Edwards out in front of the field. Stewart to the inside of Bliss right now. Earnhardt way out wide near the wall. Down onto the curbing. Drives it in deep into 3 and 4. Earnhardt on the inside of Bliss. Side by side for 6. As Stewart got around Bliss, that opened the door up for Earnhardt to get to the inside of the 0. And he'll get around the net 0 30 car, or 30, net 0 30 car. The net 0 0 car. Sadler's putting pressure on Edwards, but I don't know if anybody's going to be able to pass him. Biffles and Earnhardt have been the only two to pass cars during long green flag runs in the race today. Junior has done it twice. Biffle only did it once. Biffle's not even in the top 5 right now. He was back in 10th the last we saw of him. And these guys are on a lot older tires now compared to when they were doing it earlier on in the race. How about Mike Bliss? What a season he's had, more than just this race. Can he keep that up, though? Because we're still in the first half of the regular season. If he makes the chase in that 0 car, that is going to be a huge, huge win on the season as a whole. Especially as a rookie, nonetheless. Lower tier equipment. 3 Roush cars in the top 4. Only outlier in that would be Sadler in 2nd. 31 laps to go at Phoenix. Stewart looks to the inside of Kenseth. Junior had a great corner. He's all over the back of Stewart. He may have a shot to get underneath him into turn 3. Junior stepped over the edge, though. And again, he'll have to stay behind Stewart. Top 6, you can throw him under a blanket. 30 laps left. They're all within 1 second of Carl Edwards, the race leader. Stewart again looks low. Under Kenseth, side by side for 4th. Good run for Kenseth, though. Junior to the inside of Stewart into turns 3 and 4, but he's probably not going to be able to stay there. He's desperately trying to side draft Stewart and stay underneath him into turn 1. Tony's failed attempt to get around Kenseth may cost him 5th place to Dale Jr. Jr. still can't clear Tony Stewart. I'll try it again into 3 and 4 this time. Jr. deep into the corner, clear. So he's back inside the top 5 for the first time since the restart. Kenseth looking to get around his teammate Mark Martin. And again, have we seen the last caution in this race? We've had 11. It's been the most in a cup race all season. Forget what the thumbnail and what the title of this video says. It's the 8th race of the year, not the 9th. Tomorrow night will be the 9th at Talladega. 18 likes on the stream right now. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already. It's going to be a great finish to this race today, I have a feeling. Nobody has gotten around Edwards since the restart. Again, it is so hard to pass the leader on long green flag conditions. It's only been done 3 times all race. Junior has done it 2 of those 3 times. Yeah, all Fords. The top 4. Sadler now for Roush, though. He is driving the Robert Yates number 38 machine. Kenseth almost got into Mark Martin that time. He side drafted him just enough, and I think he is on the inside of Mark. Oh, maybe not quite. Junior going to try to arc off turns 3 and 4 just a bit. That is going to allow Junior to get under Kenseth contact off turn 4. Kenseth squeezed Earnhardt. Both cars slid but kept it off the wall, and Junior's up to 4th. So he gets around Matt Kenseth for the spot. Kenseth really slammed that door shut on Dale Jr. Stewart trying to get around Kenseth now for 5th. Kenseth almost got the wall before widening his arc off into 3 and 4. Edwards gapped Sadler by about a half a car length through 3 and 4 that time. Martin going to go wide through 1 and 2, and he'll lose ground to Sadler. Sadler goes wide again through 3 and 4 this time, and Mark closes right back on him again. Junior is going to be aggressive to the end of this race. Underneath Mark Martin. It's going to be a clean pass if he can get it done for 3rd. 22 to go. Going to drive it in deep into 1 and 2. Martin squeezes him, trying to side draft the right rear corner panel of Junior. Can't do it. Dale Jr. to P3. Sadler's closed that gap back up on Carl Edwards, and he looks low into turns 3 and 4, but maybe a bit too low, and he overdrives the corner. Is there enough grip left in these tires for somebody to get around Carl Edwards late? Flatter Phoenix surface. Putting a lot of stress on the right front as well. Sadler again loses Edwards through 1 and 2. Back-to-back corners now that the 99's been better than the 38. $20 to go. Don't forget, a caution can end the race if we see it late enough also. Those final 5 laps, ideally, is where we could see a potential yellow flag that could end it. Junior going to widen his arc off through turns 1 and 2. Not sure if he's close enough to Elliott Sadler to make a pass on him right now. And he actually had to lift. He couldn't arc it off, and he almost got in the wall off turn 4, so Junior lost a bit of time doing that. Hooks the bottom, though, through 1 and 2. Gains a little bit of that ground back. 19 laps left at the old Phoenix layout. Santiago Kid thinks there's going to be another caution left in this race. I think how many did you guess? 13? I remember somebody guessed 13. Somebody guessed 11. We're right at that right now. Junior's got to get close enough before he can really think about trying to arc the corner off. It's going to be really hard to do that this late in the run. It is up to a 3-horse race now if it stays green to the end, because it was 6 for a little bit, but now it's just 3 as it pulled away from 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Junior off the curbing on the backstretch. Oh, you guessed 15? Yeah, I know somebody guessed 13. Billy from here on out says he thinks there's going to be one more yellow. Junior's best corner for most of the day has been through 3 and 4. I almost would argue he's getting through 1 and 2 a little better than 3 and 4 lately. Can't really widen the corner off. He's going to try to do it again. Diamonds it back down towards the bottom. Quarter tank of gas left, but these guys are plenty good on fuel to the end. 15 to go at Phoenix. Going to try to widen his arc out through 1 and 2 this time rather than 3 and 4. That gets him to the inside of Sadler nearly. Not quite. It's close. He's going to be really close, though, into 3 and 4. Again, wide arc into the corner for Dale Jr. He's underneath Sadler. He side drafts him. Side by side for second on the front stretch. Jr. deep into turns 1 and 2. Sadler trying to hold him down. Will Elliott hold on? Contact. You guys got to be careful racing each other this hard right now. Sadler really trying to pinch Dale Jr. down. Jr.'s going to clear him low off turn 4 for second place. 13 to go. Up to second, Dale Jr. Restarting 12th and leading the most laps in today's race is trying to run down Carl Edwards for the win. Both these drivers are the only 2 drivers to win more than 1 race on this Cup Series season. Both of Edwards were on mile and a halves. Both of Juniors were on 50% races. So 100%er on a short track. Neither 2 have won in that style of race so far this season. It's going to be a wild finish to what has been so far a wildly entertaining race. It's going to be very difficult to get around the 99, but he is here in position to do it. Seen a lot of yellows, mostly for debris today. A few accidents. 4 for actual, 5 actually, rather, for actual spins or other incidents on the racetrack. Junior really got to go aggressive. That wide arc into 3 and 4. It looked like Edwards may have bottomed out just a little bit. Junior closes the gap at least, but can't get to the inside of the 99. 10 laps to go at Phoenix. Try it again through 1 and 2. Junior looks low underneath the 99 of Edwards. Can he get there this time? Edwards with a big block on the front stretch. Edwards off the curb. He gets sideways. He makes a mistake. Junior is going to take the lead into turn 3. Big mistake by Edwards. He threw a clean block, but he overdrove it into the dog leg. Off the curbing, he goes wide, and Junior's in the lead. He forced Edwards into a mistake. And that was the time to get around him. And it's going to be tough for Edwards to get Junior back without another restart. That was the best thing that could have happened to the 8. They shouldn't catch any lap cars before the end of this race. No, I think Edwards intimidated himself. Edwards a little wide through 3 and 4. Lost about a car length and a half that corner. 7 laps left for Dale Jr. An eighth of a tank of fuel left for Dale Jr., but again, he should be good to the end with all the yellows we've seen late. Plus, he was probably going to be about 2 laps to the good anyway, even without any cautions. Six to go. Dominating race for Dale Jr., but he still had to fight for it at the end. It still is fighting for it. It's not over. But it's probably going to have to take a pretty big mistake from Dale Jr. for Edwards to get to the lead. Junior's been smooth all day. At least when I've been driving as him. It's smooth and fast. The clean air is when this car is handled the best. Edwards has not passed the leader under green flag conditions on long green flag runs today. Junior has done it 3 times. Biffle has done it once. And of course, Biffle is a teammate of Edwards. So they're probably in similar equipment, but we'll see if Carl can do it. He is running out of time to do so. And if we get a caution now, the race is likely going to end. We'll be coming to 4 to go this time by. Will Edwards use the bumper if he gets an opportunity? I'd have to imagine he may do so. Edwards overdrives 1 and 2, though. Appreciate that comment from your daughter, Derek. And from yourself, of course, as well. 3 to go. Edwards really chopped that corner off quite a bit. Junior did too, but not as drastically as Edwards. Edwards is the one in the driver's seat. Junior's in the hot seat. I mean, I don't see, unless Edwards uses the bumper, any way he's going to get around Dale Jr. right now. Nobody has passed this 8 car on the long green flag run, excluding Biffle, all day today. 2 to go. That's all Dale Jr. has to hold on for. Drove it in really deep into 1 and 2, but he got it to stick. Might be a little risky doing that, but had a good corner because of it. Onto the curbing on the backstretch, really trying to protect the bottom is all he's trying to do right now. There's no shot for Edwards to get underneath him. Apron, on this track at least, been able to stick it all day. Final lap of the race. It will end under green. Can Edwards get to the bumper of the 8 of Dale Jr.? Both cars ran perfectly through turns 1 and 2 that time. Edwards lost a little bit of ground on the backstretch. Jr. deep into turn 3, trying to make sure Edwards can't get to the bumper. Jr. is going to go a bit wide off turn 4. Oh no, he almost gave it up, but he kept it off the wall, and Dale Jr. is going to win the Subway Fresh Fit 500 at Phoenix. I thought for a second I blew it in that final corner. Oh my goodness, I drove it in deep trying to keep him off the bumper. I almost overdrove it. That was nearly the mistake that I talked about Jr. almost made, but he did keep it off the wall barely. I thought the way he was angled off turn 4 that he wasn't going to be able to keep it off the wall, but he did. Oh, that would have been a heartbreaker. I felt like I was angled towards the wall off the exit of turn 4. I really didn't think it was going to stick. Woo-wee. A little closer than it needed to be. Junior Nation has now won his 3rd race of the Cup Series season. The first 100% race that I've won in the Cup Series on NASCAR 06. Great race today at Phoenix despite the large amount of cautions. More cautions in this race than what we saw at any other race so far this season with 11. But Dale Jr. will get the win. We'll take a look at the top finishers. Dominating fashion. 11 cautions for 33 caution laps. 3 hours, 1 minute total time on today's race. 103.23 miles an hour was the average race speed. A tenth of a second margin of victory. 22 lead changes in this one. Again, though, not any on long green flag runs, mainly during pit stops under caution and the 1 set of green flag stops. And on restarts, really, it was the main source of the lead changes, all but 4 times at least, of the 22. Max points day for Dale Jr. He'll close in on Carl Edwards, who came in as the points leader. Edwards leads 43 laps and finishes 2nd, so obviously pretty good points day for him as well, with a 2nd place finish. Elliott Sadler led 41 laps, finished 3rd today. Mark Martin didn't lead a lap, but he ended up finishing 4th. And Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 5. 3 Roush Fenway Fords in the top 5 today. Tony Stewart finished in 6th. Mike Bliss with a great run, rookie performer, finishing in 7th. 8th place was Rusty Wallace. Ryan Newman 9th. Bobby Labonte will round out the top 10 tonight. Jeff Gordon led 38 laps today. We had quite a few cars finish on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip finished 30th, unfortunately. He was in 3rd at one point, but then wrecked earlier in the race into his own race car of Kenny Wallace. And Wallace still ended up finishing 20th out of it, but Waltrip fell back to 30th. That is unfortunate. He had a great car until he wrecked midway through the race. Obviously, Junior won and had a dominating car, so I'd say Waltrip was right there with him. But Martin Truex Jr. ends up DNFing. Also rough for DEI as far as that goes. If it wasn't for Jr. winning the race, it would have been a poor performance for DEI with fast equipment today. But Jr. was able to succeed. Jeff Green did blow an engine earlier in the race. That's what I thought. Those are the only 2 drivers out. And Truex actually wrecked out. He blew an engine, but then he got piled into from behind by the 137 car. And the other 41 cars not only finished the race, but finished on the lead lap because, again, we only had 2 engine failures. And because of the 11 cautions, we didn't really have that long of a green flag run in the race for the most part. Wimmer went a lap down, but he got the free pass at one point in time with all the yellows, especially late. Yeah, great day for Roush Racing, but they did not get the win, though. And we'll get to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane. Truex going there to celebrate from his hauler. Big win for DEI today. And we'll take a look at those point standings. Again, not a full season points format for this Cup Series season as we have the original Chase system. Next race will be the Aaron's 499 at Talladega tomorrow night on the channel. Our coverage will start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time will be our race at Talladega Super Speedway. It is going to be a wild one, to say the least, on a Friday night on the channel. Remember, our Daytona 500 was probably one of the best races, I think, on the channel in general, and that was even without me winning, and I think I finished outside the top 20, if I remember right. Because he didn't do the big one with about 5 to go. Dale Jr.'s climbed up a couple spots in points from 7th to 5th. He's 180 out of first. Gained 15 points on Edwards today with the max points day. Edwards has a 59-point lead over Stewart. Jimmy Johnson in third, 142 back. Again, the top 10 make the chase off of points alone. Wins do not guarantee you a spot, even though we've had 6 different winners. 5. Wait, hang on. Let me look at the Cup Series. We have had, 5 different winners so far on the Cup Series season. 3 for Earnhardt, 2 for Edwards, 1 for Biffle, who won the Daytona 500, 1 for Newman, 1 for Stewart. So Biffle may be one to look out for today. But Newman has that last spot right now over Rusty Wallace, his teammate, so both the Penske Dodgers will be battling for it. Bliss has had a great start to the season as rookie, 14th. Junior fell back. He was 13th in points coming in, loses a couple spots due to the DNF, and right now he's sitting over 100 points behind Newman in 10th, so he really needs to get it going. DEI very strong at Talladega. That could be a good performance for him. Michael Waltrip, 24th in points. 30th place finish today. He had a shot at the top 5. That would have gained him quite a few spots. Maybe he could have broken him inside the top 20 in points, but he's still struggling right now, and he's a couple hundred back right now from Ryan Newman if he's going to want to make it into the 2005 chase for the Nextel Cup. Thank you for everybody tuning in tonight. It was a great night of live streaming once again, and a great night of racing. Can't wait till Talladega tomorrow because Daytona was wild on this game. The handling is going to be very difficult because it is a bumpy Talladega surface in 05 as well. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow night, again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Aaron's 499. You won't want to miss a single lap of the action because, again, Daytona was wild. I think Dega is going to be wild as well tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you then.